Yo guys, what's going on? Robert Warshack here. We're going to be going over what I think are the top 5 newest, most fun decks that people are playing. There's basically 4 brand new archetypes that we did not have in the previous meta, and then 1 previous archetype that got a lot better with some of the new cards. We'll talk about the decks, some of the new stuff, what makes them good, and their combos. So with that, we're going to look at the first one being Token Demon Hunter. This deck got Courteous, which is really good because he summons 2 demons with Rush, but the main reason is he has a new hero power, which is basically a Twin Slice, which you can refresh every time you attack. And with a token deck that revolves around Rush minions and attacking, this works really well. One of the cheapest new hero cards at 6 mana, and he functions really well with stuff like the Performers, which then the Performers functions very well with the Dread Eye, because you can just keep refreshing your hero power for free for easily over 20 plus damage. And then with summoning a whole bunch of tokens and giving them buffs and stuff, we have Feast of Souls, which each one that died you get to draw. And when you draw a whole bunch of cards and a whole bunch of things are dying, you've got stuff like the Giant in the deck, which costs 1 less for each friendly minion that died this game. This card doesn't need to be in your hand for this effect to take place, so whenever you do draw him, he's going to be really inexpensive, and also to combo with all of your minions dying and trading into other stuff. We've got the Flag Runner here, which is a new card. 3 mana, 6 HP. That's a ton of HP for a very low mana card. The deck functions very well. It does well against other decks that require themselves to have a board. So looking at like Pirate Warrior, possibly looking at like Free Shaman. And the reason being is you want your opponent to have cards on the board. So when you do your combos with like Parade Leader and Dread Eye and Expendables, that you're able to attack into minions so you can start hero powering with that Courteous. So Token DH on the map, performing very well. I believe this list was played by Superior David, and he hit I think 100 legend with this particular list from him. There's a bunch of different renditions, but I chose to select some decks from my friends who are doing really well. Yo guys, this is your complimentary in-between game. A little shout out here to the channel. Over 50% of you guys aren't subbed, and in order for this channel to grow and for me to keep doing what I love, channel needs your guys' support, whether it be through subbing, liking, and commenting the video. I wouldn't be making this if it didn't matter. Like, the most important thing on YouTube. So seriously, if you enjoy the content, you want to support the channel, please do those things. And if not, I guess that's okay too. We have Free Shaman here. This deck did very well in the theory crafting stream. For me, this particular list came from, I believe, No Hands Gamer, which hit #1 legend with this deck. So he was doing very well with the Free Shaman. It is no longer a joke anymore. Some of the new cards that are very good is Wind Chill. While it may look very underwhelming at 1 mana, Shaman has always had a problem with draw, and Wind Chill is at 1 mana. You get to draw a card, you freeze a minion. Drawing is very important. Wind Chill only costs 1 mana. We can make a shit ton of Wind Chills with stuff like the Sleep Breaker. We have Brilliant McCalls. We have the ability to, of course, make more with Bolinar as well. From there, what I think is another really good card in the deck is the Cheaty Snowbolt. So after an enemy minion is frozen, you deal 3 damage to it. Obviously, with Wind Chill, this is very good. With the new Snowfall Guardian, it's really good. But what's key is this can go face. So if you happen to stick any of your minions that have freeze when you attack your opponent with, let's say, the stuff that comes out of the bear, normally it only has 3 attack, but if you weave in a Cheaty Snowball, all of a sudden they do 6 damage now. And whenever you attack your opponent with a freezing card, it basically acts as a refreeze. So you just don't freeze them once and it does the 3 with Cheaty. Every time you attack with a freezing minion to your opponent's face, it refreezes and that 3 damage stacks. So a lot of damage coming out of the Free Shaman. Again, it is a little bit more of a slower deck, so this isn't an aggro deck. I wouldn't expect to win, by turn 4 or 5 most games. So it is weak to other, like, let's say, OTK decks, like the new Warlock OTK that's been running around, which we'll cover a little bit. The new Muzaki made sets running around and stuff like that. But for the time being, Free Shaman is doing incredibly well and has a bunch of new tools to be able to draw, to freeze, and to do damage. Taking a look at Burgle Rogue, brand new to the meta. Very fun. So we finally have a use for the Mastra, and that's going to be the Wild Pole Null. So, for example, if let's say we turn into a mage one game, right? At the beginning of the game, we're going to be drawing rogue cards, and because we're technically a mage drawing rogue cards, this guy's just going to get discounted very fast, and we've been able to get like 2 nulls out on like turn 2 just because we can get him to 0 mana very easily with being able to hide our hero with this. Also, another really cool card in the deck is the Fleet Runner. So with her, you're able to replace the minions in your hand and deck with ones of other classes, and they cost 2 less. So while it is a bit random and it is a bit wacky, you have a little bit of control over it because we do run a decent amount of spells that allow you to synergize, like Shadow Step and Secret Passage and our secrets in the deck. So this deck is a little bit wacky, very, very hard to play correctly because each and every game is going to be different. You have to basically weave into what your win condition is and what card you get to, you know, kind of plan out a victory. Another very value-oriented card that has come from this expansion is the Contraband Stash. So you get to replay 5 cards from other classes that you played this game. With it being 5 mana, you're basically playing 1 mana a card for those other classes. It is all random, so it doesn't like target your opponent as priority. So if you do happen to play some fireballs from a mage or something like that, you got to be careful. So Burgle Rogue back on the map, and obviously we see the secret package in here. So if you don't happen to get the Fleet Runner, you obviously just need a decent deck too. So this deck is an aggro secret rogue with that basically Fleet Runner back end. We also only have 1 4-drop in the whole deck, so Kazakis fits. And then for those of you who are like, why are you running Viper? It's because of the Paladins and the Warlocks. So granted, the Viper could turn into another card with the Fleet Runner, but again, we don't. Fleet Runner is 1 card, so you want to build a good deck, and then Fleet Runner just makes it more exciting. You know what I'm saying? So heading on over to the buff Paladin, this is one of the decks that basically previously existed in the prior meta, but it got some new tools that I think make it really, really, really good. One being the Iron Deep Trog. I think this card is absolutely nuts, and I think this is going to get nerfed to 2 mana very, very soon. I think this card is way too good at 1 mana, and the reason being is you can lead with Trog, they don't kill it, and then you put Noble Mount or Hand of a Doll on it, and it keeps the buffs when it summons a copy of itself. It doesn't just summon a copy of a 1/2. Whatever the stats are of this guy is the copy, right? So on turn 6, one of the most degen moves you can do is go Iron Deep Trog into Blessing of Authority, and now you have a 9/10 Trog that can only die to other minions, and if they play any spells whatsoever that don't kill it, it's going to make a copy of itself that's a 9/10. So very, very degen, very, very good. Iron Deep Trog in buff deck is crazy, crazy, crazy. We also have the new Scarlet. It has Rush. Whenever it gains an attack or health, double the amount. So basically, whenever you buff this guy, it does double buffs. Very, very fun with Blessing of Authority. It can get plus 16/16, which is kind of exciting. Bannerman gives it +2/+2, and any of the other buffs in the decks basically are double. So very, very good card, and it is huge. And then we, of course, have the new Lightforge Cariel. She's amazing with the new Blessing of the Queen's Hero Power, which gives random minions in your hand +4/+4. Each and every turn you get to click this button. Her weapon, the unstoppable or the immovable object, is a very, very good. It never loses durability, and you take half damage basically for the rest of the game until the weapon is destroyed. So obviously, do not play Lightforge Cariel and then play a Prismatic Jewel Kit. The Jewel Kits are before you play Cariel. If you happen to draw a Jewel Kit after Cariel, you're screwed. So heading on over to the last deck that we're going to cover, it's going to be the Hooty Hoot or the Owl Warlock. Brand new deck, brand new OTK. This may be too good and could get nerfed because we've been seeing a lot of it at the top 1000 legend. There is a massive amount of Owl Warlock, and the combo is, for those of you who are looking at this like, what the hell is going on here? The Owl, Death Rattle, deal 8 damage to a random enemy, which includes your enemy's face. So you play the Owl, you play Grimoire Sacrifice so it doesn't get polymorphed to Devolving Missile or whatever. You can instantly kill it. From there, you go ahead and you play the Tamsin Romay with the Wicked Shipment to fill up your board with minions. From then, you play the Phylactery, since the only Death Rattle minion, or one of the Death Rattle minions in your deck, is the Owl, and there's not more than 3. You pick the Owl. The Phylactery then costs 0 mana because Romain's out. You Phylactery again. You pick the Owl again. Every single minion on your side of the board has a Death Rattle. When it dies, deal 16 damage to whatever your opponent has out, whether it's minions or the face. Most of the time, 96 damage or something that it comes out to is more than enough to kill all the minions your opponent has and kill their face. And then you kill your own minions with School of Spirits. This combo may seem like it's, wow, that's a lot, that's hard to get off. No, it is not. We played 4 games of this deck with no experience or any idea how to play it. We were drunk. We won every 4 games by completing our combo on turn 9. And then 2 of those games, we actually killed the Owl and completed the combo in the same turn. And that's doable with stuff like the Rune Mithril Rod. So you get, you know, Tamsin down to 0, 1 mana. The only thing you have to watch out for is making sure Phylactery doesn't cost less than 1. But besides that, the deck is really, really good. You have insane, absolutely insane draw with Backfire and the Tamsin and the hero powers and Mortal Coils. I mean, it's just nuts. This deck may look janky, but this deck, it scoots. Or should we say a hoots? So with that, that's gonna wrap up our top 5 decks so far that I've seen people playing and been having really good results with. If there's any decks that we haven't covered that you guys have seen that you think are up and comers, feel free to leave that in the comment section below. Also join the Discord, post your decks there. I'm always looking for new decks to play, especially with a new expansion, so we can make some cool videos on some cool new combos and cards. So with that, thank you guys for watching. I'm Robert Warshack, of course, and happy whatever the hell day it is.